Hello, Tampa Theater. I am Mark Muncy, the author of Eerie Florida, Freaky Florida, and Creepy Florida, all available from the History Press. These books tell the dark side of the Sunshine State, the myths, the monsters, the legends, the ghosts, and just some of the dark history that we don't like to talk about too much. But I am so sorry I can't be there tonight, but I am happy that I'm going to be allowed to share a story with you all. And we are going to share a wonderful story from right here in Tampa Bay. Now, as you all know, the ghosts of Tampa Theater love other ghost stories. So we'll talk about one right across the water over in Clearwater. Now, this ghost is kind of an unusual situation because this ghost doesn't fit history, doesn't fit any reason to be there. This ghost belonged to a location that isn't even there anymore. This ghost belonged to Boatyard Village. Now, some of you remember fondly Boatyard Village, I'm sure. For those of you who don't know, Boatyard Village was in the area just past the St. Pete Clearwater Airport as you head towards the Bayside Bridge. At that point, this was a fishing village that was built to look like something out of the turn of the century. Now, it was built in the 1970s, so it really wasn't as old as it looked. But it was a quaint fishing village that was meant to rival John's Pass and Clearwater Beach and St. Pete Beach for tourist style attraction. They had tacky shops, they had restaurants galore, they had fun little snack places, and you could bring your catch in right off the bay and one of the restaurants would cook it for you. One of the most famous restaurants there was the 94th Aero Squadron, which you could even listen in on little radio stations at the bar where you could listen in to the flight control tower from St. Pete Clearwater Airport. Imagine doing that now. But it was a wonderful place and a great place to visit, but most famously it had a theater. Now, this theater had all sorts of performances there, from musicals to plays and even some light opera at one point. This playhouse did everything that you can imagine, very similar here to Tampa Theater, but on a much smaller scale. Now, this playhouse gained a reputation very quickly because the cast members and crew of these performances would see a lady in white. Now, this figure would appear and she would look like a lady in a fine Victorian dress, pure white lace with a parasol, the umbrella that she would carry, and she would twirl as she would walk along as if she was in some play. And the actors and crew would be like, who is this lady? We're doing South Pacific. This isn't in there. She looks kind of Mary Poppins. What the heck is this? And they would try to approach her or ask her, and she would just disappear around a corner or disappear into a shadow and never be seen again. Now, just when they would think she was gone and forget about her, another sighting would occur. Now, this happened over and over. Now, some of the people started suspecting, oh my goodness, we have a ghost. So they started doing some research. There was never any performances there of anything in Victorian garb. The place had been swampland before and was swampland, to be. So there was no reason for a Victorian ghost to be in this theater. Why was she there? That was a good question, and it was never really found out. Now, the theater and Boatyard Village kind of went into a bit of a decline for a while and started to disappear as the businesses went out of business, went out. And suddenly, the people there came up with this brilliant idea. Let's turn the theater into a haunted house. And the wonderful Dr. Paul Bearer, who I'm sure many of us remember, and the Madame Guava, who was hosting Guavaween, came up with this brilliant idea of Madame Guava's haunted house. And they put it in the old theater. It didn't take long for some of the theater haunted house people to realize there was an extra ghost. There was a lady in white with that Victorian garb with the parasol walking across and through the halls and scaring other people. Now, was that an actress in the show? They wouldn't say. Some of the people who worked there said she was just an unpaid extra that the people got because they did see a real ghost. Well, shortly after that, Boatyard Village suffered a terrible fire, and it was forcing to close down. And eventually it was just a few businesses were left before it finally fell into complete disrepair and was shuttered for the last days. Now, in the early 90s, it was destroyed and completely demolished to make way for the swamp to regrow and allow the airport to have control of that land. And we thought that would be the end of the ghost story, the end of the sightings. It was not. Shortly after, when people would kayak in the area or, just do other water sports, they would often see this lady in white walking through the mangroves, just with her parasol behind her, as if not a care in the world, perhaps where the old boardwalk used to be. So if you're out there driving across the Bayside Bridge, or if you are out there on the water, keep your eyes open as you pass the Clearwater Airport. You might just see the lady in white. If you'd like more stories like this, you can follow us at eerieflorida.com, and you can find our books wherever books are sold, and we will see you on the other side.